In this video, we'll have a look at the pivot modulation feature on the tetrachords. This is just a little semi-hidden feature that lets you do some interesting harmonic changes relatively quickly. It's not sort of part of the core functionality of the module, but it's just a fun little thing we added in. And it's actually much simpler to use than to explain fully, so I might just explain how to use it first. And how you use it is you hold down the chromatic 2 button, and then you press these any of these 8-note buttons to just generate some interesting changes. I'll do a quick demonstration. Etc. So you can hear they're not too unusual, but they're sort of they're little key changes, sort of common key changes and things like that hidden in there. So it's quite a simple thing to use and a fun thing to play around with. I'll have a go now at just explaining what's happening musically there. So again, as I said, you hold down the chromatic 2 button, and what happens is the 2 banks of buttons actually do something a little bit different. The first bank of 4 they change the scale to a major scale, a minor scale, a diminished scale, and a whole tone scale. They also will change whatever note is highlighted to note 1 of the scale. So say by default, let's have a look. The root note here's moved because I've been playing around, but we make the root note C and we turn up to here. So now this button here is representing an E. And what happens is if I pivot here with the pivot modulation, now note number 1 is E. But it's changed to, because I press this button, a major scale, so sort of a major chord that we have here. So yeah, and if I look at the pattern, you can see the root notes move to E. So that's what that does. It just changes the scale, but it also can be interesting when you've got a different note selected here. What these buttons do is a little bit different. If I hold this down again, you can see this is flashing because that was the last scale I selected. It sort of remembers what scale I picked. So this one here was a diminished scale, and it's remembered that. And what it does here, when you press these buttons, it changes it to the same scale that we already selected. So now pressing one of these buttons will change it to a diminished scale, but they also shift the root note. The root note goes down if you press these 2 buttons, and up if you press those 2. So it's down a minor third, which is 1, 2, 3 notes on your LED ring here, or down a major third, which is 4 notes on your LED ring. And these go up the same. So up a minor third, up a major third, down a minor third, down a major third. I'll just, actually a good way to just get the hang of these is you can just jam just on these and it'll stick to whatever scale it is. I might go to minor because that's kind of pleasant to listen to. So we've got a minor chord here, go down. So these go down and up the same amount. It just goes back and forth. This goes up an extra step, and down an extra step. Yeah. And that's pivot modulations. It's quite a lot of fun. One way to break yourself out of the kind of loop of having everything just sticking to the traditional keys.